any software. My whole thing was, as a hygienist, I'm working in people's mouth, and then I'm running the computer and then going back to their mouth, and we know how filthy a keyboard and a mouse is, right? So next time you go to the dentist, don't let them touch your keyboard and go back to your mouth, because things stay on that surface for like weeks, and we can't sterilize it. We can wipe it down and try, but we can't keep it clean. So anyway, my issue was I was having to have a second person come in and enter my numbers. Seemed like a boring job, a waste of their time. So I thought, well, if I could just have mouse on the floor, numbers on the floor. I was watching my kids with those computer games, and I'm thinking, if I could just enter my numbers on the floor, I wouldn't have to have that second person. So I developed this. I went to a patent attorney, and he laughed at me at first, and he said, it's a mouse on the floor. It's a kindergarten concept. I'm sure somebody's done it, so good luck with that. And I said, well, look it up and see if there's anything. And he comes back to me and he says, Becky, you can have a patent for all foot-operated data entry. So then I'm like, okay, I'm a hygienist. I don't know what to do. We just built a house. My husband and I, who's back in the corner, being quiet. Anyhow, we were like, what do? We had some pool money set aside. We had, a chunk of money for a swimming pool for the kids. And I said, kids, I really would like to take that money and go build this rat. And they all kind of were like, okay, all right, well, will we get a pool someday? I'm like, sure, I'll get you a pool. Anyway, entrepreneur, I gotta go. I'm just a gambler, I gotta go. He's my brakes, I'm the gas. And we went forward and we made it, got some engineers to go along with it. We raised $500,000 in a SCORE offering, a small corporate offering here in Idaho. Got it going, got it molded and made, and we've been doing this about 7 years. It's really kind of getting to become kind of a standard in the dental industry. People, there's no other option out there, really. Voice has been out for years, but we all kind of know how voice works. Even with my Siri, there's no way she's going to give me 130 numbers in a row accurately, and that's what we have to have with this. So luckily I don't have a lot of competition. We got like 4 patents out of it, and we're getting ready to now launch into a new one for the disabled market, for the general public. Anybody who can't use a hand mouse, that has arthritis, carpal tunnel, missing a limb. We did a little research on it, and we found out there's 11 million people in our country that can't use their hand mouse effectively, so maybe Parkinson's even. And so this new one we're making is going to be really fun. It's called Boomer the Foot Mouse, and it's basically going to be for medical, surgical, anywhere where someone's trying to stay sterile or just can't use a hand mouse. Food service drives me batty when people are going from the computer to the money to the food, and it's kind of a cross-contamination thing for me. Sorry, hygienist. But so it's been pretty interesting. It's been I guess a lot of people's nightmare what we go through as entrepreneurs. My husband included. It's the hardest part, I think, is being the spouse of an entrepreneur, because we're always going, trying to strive for that next thing, and they're just like, wait a second, I'm not in for this one. But it's been a huge blessing too. We've had a ton of fun stuff happen. I've gotten to travel all over the world with this. I never thought we'd be learning German, trying to teach people how to use numbers, but I could just go, no hands, watch. And I'd show them the computer, and I'd show it with my foot, and they'd all just like, wow, that's cool. So it's been, taken me further than I ever thought as a hygienist. My kids, my family, everybody, not only giving up the pool, but every vacation was surrounded around, well, let's go to, Utah, this big guru of dentistry. He wants to see my rat. Kids were like, great, can we stop at Lagoon? So we go to Lagoon, and we ride some rides, and we got my old motor home, and the kids are sleeping all over the floor, and I gotta leave at 5 to go down to Salt Lake to go and and show my rat to this big guru who's gonna get me in a magazine. And I get there, and I will never forget this. I had my big metal one with the wire and a PS2, and before the USB even. I mean, I was like, I had it all set up and ready to go, and all these lab guys were like, okay, well, so what do you got there? And I said, well, it's a rat. It's a big mouse, it's a rat. And they're like, okay. So then I kind of explain it, I turn it on, I show them, and they're all impressed. I can't talk. I had been screaming in the rides the day before at Lagoon, and I'd lost my voice. And I didn't even know until after I got it all on, I'm like, hi, my name is Becky. Oh, crap. And so they're like, you went to Lagoon yesterday? Like, yes, and I'm a screamer. And anyway, my kids though, they've all gone through a learning curve with this. They've learned that they can make anything. If they don't like the flavor of this, well, we'll just change it. We'll invent it and make a new one. You kind of, once you get that mindset that you can do anything, or you show someone, the kids, to me now, it's like no big deal. It's like, yeah, mom invented this thing, yeah. It's kind of, it's a learning curve. It's scary, it's scarier than snot. I would pass out anytime I had to public speak, and now I go and I've spoke at college commencements, I've spoke at things where, like even I normally would have passed out. It kind of takes you out of your comfort zone, but with our new one, something that kind of triggered with me which as entrepreneurs, you guys might appreciate this, but I was listening to a guy speak, and he was talking about our deserve level and how we all have a deserve level. We all set, I was raised that way, this is as far as I'll ever get. Or this is a great idea, but this is as far as I'll ever get with it. And finally one day I realized I was the one holding my company back. I was afraid, and I had a low deserve level myself. And so I was afraid to take this step and go to this new one, because I was like, well, dental hygiene, this is what I need. I want dental, I just want this dental one. And I stuck myself in that box. And all my stockholders had said, you need to step out, you need to go bigger. There's a bigger purpose for this than just dental. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll try really hard. So I ran across these 4 little girls in the mall one day, and they didn't have any arms. And my daughter's like, no, Mom, no, don't do it. I'm like, no, I gotta do it. So we brought these girls into our office, and we said, we want to make this foot mouse. We'd like your input. What do you think? And this one little girl, she was maybe in 3rd grade, and she says, well, we have iPads. They buy us iPads. Medicaid gives them iPads. And she said, so we can use that. We use our toe. So she's showing me how they run it with their foot, and they're sitting in a chair looking on the ground the whole time. And she said, but my leg hurts and my knee hurts, and I can't rest my foot because it touches things. So I said, well, what if you could sit down at a desk and you could just run with your foot right here, and you're looking at a monitor right here, and you're able to run that computer with, and so I showed her with just this one, and I said, what if you could do this in a really simple manner? And she turned to her mom and she goes, Mom, I could have a job someday. I could look normal. And I about lost it. I thought, okay, I need to move forward, and because I'm holding myself back, I'm holding her back, and then I learned that there's so many people out there that could use it. And so anyway, once I kind of got out of that fear and out of that box, a couple stockholders stepped up and gave us the money to make the new one, make the mold for the new one, because I'm sure a lot of you know molds aren't cheap. You got $100,000